here with me is our defence and security analyst, Michael Clarke, to talk us through the day's developments. And Michael, first of all, the Russians have proposed some humanitarian corridors to try to get civilians out, and yet the Ukrainians are rejecting them. Why is that? I'll mark them up as you talk.
Well, they don't seem terribly realistic. I mean, these humanitarian corridors are to take civilians into Russian areas or across the border into Belarus or Russia. They would have to stay open a long time to get significant numbers of people out of big cities. And the Ukrainians have this sense, as a lot of us do, that if they do open humanitarian corridors, the Russians would then say afterwards, well, OK, everyone who's now in the cities are competent. You've had your chance to leave, you haven't left, so now we're coming in. So there's a degree of propaganda about all of this, which the British Ministry of Defence thinks is just a ploy to distract attention. OK, so let's take a look then at a map of the south of the country now, because attacks by the Russians are continuing around the main cities, aren't they? Let's start with Odessa, shall we? Because this is seen as being crucial for the Russians. Yeah. Why is it so important, and what kind of progress are they making? Big and important city. It controls the economy of Ukraine. It's access to the Black Sea, all the grain and the bulk products that they trade, which are very important to them and to the rest of the world. All go through Odessa and Chernomorsk, which is just south of Odessa. At the moment, the Russians are fighting at Mykolaiv. They've been thrown back once from Mykolaiv, which is just to the east of Odessa. If they get through Mykolaiv, then Odessa will present quite a military challenge to them. They're digging in there for what could be a big siege.
And obviously really important for the Russians. They really want that city, don't they?
They have to take Odessa if they're going to create this corridor and get control of Ukraine's economy.
OK, let's take a look at Kherson, meanwhile. This is the one main city that's under Russian control, isn't it? But can they hang on to it?
They can hang on to it because they've got the area around it, but they're not really in control of Kherson. All of the information coming out is that the Russians are confined to barracks, more or less. Life is going on relatively normally in Kherson. It's not doing them much good controlling that city, even though it's quite an important city in terms of the rest of the area of southern Ukraine.
And what about Mariupol? Because that's the other big city that's being targeted. And we have got troops surrounding it, haven't we, at the moment? And is that the kind of strategy that we're going to see from the Russians, this surrounding of cities?
I think it could be. The agony of Mariupol goes on. It's surrounded, it's cut off, no water, no electricity, food is running short, no humanitarian convoys in or out. And that is the model which the Russians may be following in other cities as well.
Well, yes, and would you say that's the case for Kiev? If we take a look at the north of the country now, we have got this big convoy, so what's the latest on that?
The convoy hasn't moved for 6 days, so it's still stuck. Russian forces coming in from the area of Chernihiv and Sumy are moving in from the northeast. So Kiev will be surrounded in the coming days. Whether the Russians will adopt the Mariupol tactics in Kiev, which will be a huge affront to humanity, we will have to see.